Hello and welcome once again to another replay by myself, Jim Raynor, your friend and ally, and I invite all who love good and hate evil to join me on my quest to liberate the galaxy. We are going to Antigua Shipyard, where I will face off against the notorious Gumby. And, as you can see, I have spawned on the lower left, my opponent, the red Protoss, on the top left. The reason I decided to cast this game is because I've been experimenting with a new strategy against Protoss, going completely mech. I build maybe just a handful of Marines early on, but after that I go heavy Thors, Banshees, get a single Raven, and a Ghost or two. But for the most part I rely heavily on Thors. And I wanted to kind of go through the build order real quick. As a Terran player going up against Protoss, one of the biggest issues that I have is that early game push that they often go against you, whether it's a 3-Rax Robo, or a 3-gate Robo, or a 4-gate. I tend to get really owned pretty early on by Protoss. It's discouraging, particularly since my style is I like to Rax expand. So I thought I'd try something different. What I'm going to do is a very conventional build, the most common vanilla Terran build, where you build a barracks, and then at 13 get your refinery, upgrade your orbital as soon as your Rax is done, saturate your refinery, get your second depot, and then kind of tech up from there. And what I do at this point is exactly that. I'm going to go through the timing with you. Saturate that gas. This guy here, when he's done building that, I wanted him to go to the gas. And upgrade to orbital now. Making first Marine. Wait until you have enough money for that supply depot, which should be building right now. I've got the money. There it goes. And next step after that is I want a factory as soon as I have 100 gas. And promptly after that, a second gas geyser. I'm going to be pumping Marines, and at the point where my factory is starting, I want to start thinking about defenses, and I get a bunker right here on the high ground. My SCB scout sees where he is. I do a little bit of a ring around the rosy to see how long I can stay in his base. Down the gas goes. 3 Marines on the way. As soon as this factory is done, what I want to do is make a starport right away and put a tech lab add-on to the factory. Saturate that gas as soon as it is available. 3, there you go. And it's a gas intensive build. Obviously, whenever you go mech, you can never have enough gas, and you have a surplus of minerals. What I do with the surplus of minerals is I make a lot of Hellions. And at a certain point of time where I feel like I can afford it after my second is very well established, then I add 2 more factories. So the starport's coming up. Here goes my bunker. Production tab. Skip that up there. 26, good. We're both even on food. Alright, you land the factory after the tech add-on and just leave it. You don't do anything with it for a little while. Lift up the starport, plop it on the tech add-on, and the first thing you want to do is research that all-important cloak. Cloak first, and then as soon as you can afford the Banshee goes. Got to be very cognizant of how you're going to rally this guy, because you're not going to necessarily be paying attention when he's flying through the breeze. You don't want him to run into an army that's coming over. So just you want to path it on the outskirts and just kind of drop him somewhere where he's not going to start attacking immediately, because you want to make sure that you're ready to micro him when he's about to attack. So we're building 2 of those Banshees. Still doing nothing with the factory. He's not going to get very far with that bunker. Still making SCVs, obviously. Making Marines. Now, after I have established the second Banshee, expand. Drop your next command center. And then as soon as you can justify it, you want the armory. And then right after that, you want your tech add-on to your factory. Always make sure your gases are saturated. You're in pretty good shape. I've got my Banshees kind of set, ready to go here. It's pretty much it. Second Banshee's on the way. And as soon as you can afford it, you want your first Thor as soon as that armory is done. Very critical. Because this is not going to defend you against any serious push by the Protoss. When that Thor comes out, you're going to find you're going to need him if he's got aggressive intentions. So, waiting on that gas. I'm also bringing those guys around, getting them into position. And then I see this coming up my base, and I make 2 more bunkers. It might be too little too late. And I'm feeling kind of like freaking out, like, oh gosh, I've got nothing to do. I've got nothing to really defend myself against this but a bunker full of Marines. So I thought, why not go ahead, cloak my Banshees, put them in the air and start doing damage. And just try to hold this off. Use whatever I can, drop a turret there. I've got, you know, a handful of Marines that, if they were in a bunker, they'd do a lot better. And get in that bunker, finish the bunker, get it in there, get it in there. Okay, they're in the bunker. They're gonna do okay. Cloak Banshee's about to die. I took out a very sizable amount of his economy. Let's look at his income tab. Yeah, he's got 11 to my 26 workers. And my Thor just popped, so preparing SCVs in case he's got a lot more reinforcements coming in. And I'm good to go. Back to work they go. I'm very well fortified, and I'm feeling good enough that I can press out and grab my natural expansion. Salvage the bunkers. And at this point, if you've got even 1 Thor, it's fairly easy, depending on what he has, obviously. But the good thing about Thors is they're pretty hardy. And with repairing SCVs, they can take care of just about anything that the Protoss can throw at you early game. The hard counter to Thors are mortals, so you want to watch out for them. Airtight wall on the way. I've got 3 bunkers, or 3 barracks, which should mitigate any zealots that would be coming into the base. Position all your units right on this choke. You want to get a good surround on them if they push up the ramp. I can see his observer. Easily take that out. I know he's got an expansion, but I hadn't been paying attention to the Banshee as to how many kills he got, so I wasn't aware of how in good shape I really was in. And those guys are going to scare me away. It's not a big deal. I'm going to get rid of that pylon sooner or later. I'm going to sacrifice my army just for a pylon. And then from here, you know, you want to make sure all your stuff is saturated. Get your macro machine going, and the next step that you want to do is make sure that you've got 2 more of these factories on the way. I lost a fair amount of mining time just kind of dealing with that harass, but I'm in much better shape than him. So pretty much ready for those 2 more factories if I can afford it, which I can just about. Second Thor on the way. And honestly, I probably could have, if I wanted to just win the game, I could have probably done it right now. But I'm working on my macro game with Protoss in particular, because as a Terran player, there's a window of time against a Protoss where you can do significant damage to him. But after the spellcasters come out and the Colossus, if you're going bio, you're dead in the water, unless you're able to bring out the ghosts and the Vikings respectively and micro accordingly. But even still, I find it a huge struggle to maintain a bioforce against a late game Protoss. So this is a really good alternative that I've been experimenting with. So we got 3 factories. I'm going to put a tech lab. I've got a tech lab on one. I'm going to put a tech lab on another, and the third is going to have a reactor for the Hellions. I'm going to research Blue Flame, and I am researching the vehicle plating and weapons. Later point in time, I get a second armory. I wasn't really on top of my upgrades during this game. Working on that still. And a Ghost Academy for insurance. I thought, why not get a Ghost and put him on the high ground. If he comes up there, I can just drop a little EMP on a cluster of his units to weaken his shields, to eliminate his shields. And I just thought for fun, maybe later on I actually did make a nuke. So there's really not much that can get up this ramp unless he has an overwhelming amount of mortals, of which he has only 2. So I'm in really good shape. And at this point in time, what I try to do is I'll build a single Viking, a single Banshee, and a single Raven. And what I'm going to do is go Overlord or Overseer hunting. I haven't perfected this because the movement speed of a Raven is significantly slower. So these guys, if they run into anything, they're not going to detect it because this guy's so far behind. Later, I got these guys and just right-clicked on my Raven and just moved my Raven around, thinking, okay, they're going to just attack anything that they see, but that doesn't happen. Unless you A-move them, they're just going to follow the leader and just go right by this observer and do absolutely nothing for you. So, still working out the kinks on that method, but at the very least, it shooed him away, and he's not going to feel very comfortable flying back and observing my unit composition. And from here, got my Hellions coming out, queuing up. Ooh, that's not good. Problem with queuing up your workers. That's another thing that I'm not really good at, is just micromanaging each individual structure. I just have them on a hotkey and I just go, 4, Thor, as many as I can afford. At a later point in time in the game, I add 2 more factories. Because if you can afford to queue up a second Thor, you can afford another structure and double your production. Alright, salvage the bunkers. Feeling safe enough. I've got a pretty good hefty amount of Thors. 6 is plenty to hold off whatever he's got, at least for the interim. And worst case scenario, grab SCVs to repair them. And that's happened. Some Protoss players, they just balls to the wall. They just go right up your ramp, and you're in a perfect position to obliterate him. He's going to be bunched up here. Thors do great splash damage and can annihilate just about anything the Protoss can throw at you, save immortals. Alright, I know he's going to try to deny me, so I send something that he cannot touch, a Banshee. So you can do whatever you want with my turret, but you're not going anywhere. So I've secured that. I've got my 2 command centers ready to go. I'm sending out preemptively the missile turrets in case he sends any VTs my way. I've queued up a few of these auto turrets to his third, which I've spotted. Don't plan on doing a lot of damage, just really there to kind of provoke him. And you'd be surprised how much damage can be actually done psychologically to your opponent if you can distract him. Just throw him off his game a little bit. And because I've watched the replay on some of these, and when multiple things are happening at once, you can tell from his camera movement that he's flustered and unfocused. So just doing this is enough to kind of throw him off his rhythm. Oh gosh, I gotta go take care of this now. And those turrets would not have been able to take out this very hardy shielded, Nexus. So whatever. All right, so my third is up, fourth is on the way. Got a planetary fortress it. Keep my Banshee there in case he sends any, small units that are just kind of poking around. And this is the point where, look at this. I send my SCVs over. He should have seen them. And this is low-hanging fruit, but he just bypassed that. He didn't notice the SCVs. And he presses up the ramp. And he's about to press up the ramp, and I press down the ramp. Mistake on my part is I didn't know he was there. But as soon as he showed up, I should have backed up my ramp. I'm speeding it up so you can see this engagement. Here again, a bunch of SCVs. I go down the ramp. Should have stayed right where I was. See, he's got a superior concave to me, and I have a lot of idle Thors that are just bumping around trying to find something to do. Nevertheless, my army value is superior to his, and I just, there was just too much of my stuff. Lost my Raven, unfortunately, but I mean, there's really, he has no army at this point, and there's really not much he can do. So I'm kind of chilling out. I'm thinking, all right, I'll just go to the center of the map, grab the center, take the map control, and send a few SCVs to repair my Thors, get them up to full health, get a ghost. At this point, maybe drop a nuke somewhere just for fun. Do that eventually, don't I? Come on, Mr. Ghost. I know I grabbed you. There we go. The rest is pretty much kind of dull. I mean, I basically roll the guy. We're both gold players. I'm not smurfing on the bronzes. And when you're feeling this good, there's no hurry. So you can just chill out. Maybe have some fun and go scouting for expos or whatnot. I send some Hellions around here and there. Where do I send it? Alright, I'm gonna break down the rocks. Look how mad powerful those Thors are. Just in time for him to saturate his third. There's a wonderful nuke waiting for you. Unfortunately, he sees me. I'm not cloaked. If I was cloaked, he wouldn't have been able to do this. He just gets me at the last second, just as the nuke was about to drop. But it's alright. I've got a backup plan. Alright, so those guys are just hunting for expos. I'm not really worried about consolidating my army into one spot, because I know how sufficiently ahead I am. Away he goes. My Banshees are going to basically kind of cycle around to his backside while I make a push to his front door. I used the strike cannons, but probably didn't need to, as they can only do damage to one unit at a time. There's no splash damage that I'm aware to the cannons. But I thought I'd try it just to see how effective it was. Alright, he sees that coming and he's just, see you later, I guess. So that's a meching Terran method against Protoss. Very effective. You want to watch for Immortals. If you get Immortals, then a good follow-up would be to get Ghosts, crack their shields open to definitely weaken them. And make sure you got enough Banshees, because Immortals can't shoot Banshees. So between Banshees and Thors and Hellions, you can pretty much counter just about anything the Protoss can throw at you to save you. Well, even the spellcasters, High Templars, they can do a feedback on your Thors, which will eliminate all the help of the amount of energy that they have, and that's a problem. The solution I've thought about maybe is getting a ghost just EMPing your own Thors to save them from doing that. Because other than the strike cannons, which don't do much to large armies, there's no need to have a surplus of energy on your Thors. So anyway, that's the replay. That's the strategy. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day. Hasta la vista.